Hey, I'm Derek, it's me, Derek, and welcome to Stop Skeletons from Fighting. Last month, I saw some news that blew my mind. Not only does Quake have an arcade game with a trackball, but this game was not emulatable for a really long time because of a security dongle that physically needed to be plugged into the cabinet. That is until GitHub user Mills5 uploaded a fix.
Wow.
The gate was up. There was no longer anything holding me back, so I rushed to get my hands on it because a Quake arcade game? What did they change? How do they put this in the arcades? I had to know what was different. And it turns out, not much, actually. It's actually not all that different from normal Quake. The levels and episodes are exactly the same from the PC version. Enemies would sometimes drop insta prizes, which would give out tickets from the machine, but I actually wasn't able to make the drops to appear for me. But it supposedly had 16-player deathmatch, so long as you could hook up 16 giant cabinets together in one room, presumably. Better watch the throne, Faceball 2000. Ultimately, though, Quake Arcade is not much more than just a neat curio. But this idea got in my head. I started wondering, what other games were ported not from, but to the arcades? I mean, tons of arcade games got ported to console and PC, and it wasn't completely unheard of for a console original to get an arcade version or port, at least back in the day. Nowadays, they'll slap a damn mobile game into an arcade cabinet, which is perfect for drunk people. I understand. But I wanted to know specifically if there were other PC games that got the arcade treatment like Quake did here. PC gaming as we know it today really rose as arcades were falling. There are a limited subsection of games that were popular enough to warrant arcade ports. And as you can probably guess, if it's popular and on PC, either id or Valve had hands on it somewhere. 3 of Valve's most popular games got arcade ports. Not only that, they only ever saw release in Japan. I downloaded them all and I brought on my test desk to check them out. So join me while I see what kind of dumb fun I can get myself into. Welcome back to Punching Weights, where we celebrate the weird, ambitious, and unnecessary. And folks, these are Japanese arcade ports of classic Valve games. But first, I want to tell you about a website maker called Zyro. Zyro is an incredibly easy way to build a website or online store. Now for this video, I made a shrine to my Valve collection of console games here. Because of course I go dumb. You give me the opportunity to hey, make a website, we'll pay you for it. You're gonna get 110% of dumb Derek energy. That is the Stop Skeletons guarantee. Offer code Stop Skeletons. You wanna learn a little bit about Counter-Strike, the Xbox version? It's here. It's a real thing. God, I wonder if people are still playing this online. Luckily, Zyro was crazy affordable. Honestly, the best price I've seen on the market, so I can afford to make a website this dumb. But if you want to be less dumb and do something smart like promote your business, Zyro makes it easy to sell anything online. Things like inventory management, shipping, discount codes, and more are all in one place. Easily sell on Facebook, Instagram, and Amazon too. Go to zyro.com/special/stopskeletons and use the offer code STOPSKELETONS for 30% off. I made this website. Yes, this is a commercial, but I made a website and I worked kind of hard on it, so check it out. I'm serious. Okay, just kidding. Building the website was an absolute breeze. It's all drag and drop style editing, and when I did get confused, getting help from Zyro's support team was ridiculously easy. You can check out the website that I made at nochumpzone.com for all your Valve console support needs, and Zyro for your very own website for your business. Zyro.com/special/stopskeletons and the offer code STOPSKELETONS. Save 30%. Links in the description below. Thank you to Zyro for sponsoring this part of the video. I gotta start with the banger, Half-Life 2 Survivor. This arcade port of Half-Life 2 was released in mid-2006 by Taito on their Thai X Plus arcade system. Again, like all the 3 games, it was released only in Japan. The machine itself had 2 joysticks that kind of looked like guns, and floor pedals! Yes, pedals! These were used for jumping and crouching, which I guess is kind of similar to how games like Time Crisis move, so that kind of makes sense. But does that mean that Time Crisis is the point of reference here?
Look out!
Because Half-Life 2 Survivor feels like it was made in this fantasy world where you have never played a first-person shooter, but you are still somehow interested in Half-Life 2. The campaign opens with the classic G-Man intro, but when things start for real, the story is never heard from again. Well, there might be more. I can't read Japanese. Listen, do you like Half-Life but feel it got too cerebral? Then this is the game for you. Anyway, after G-Man chews on your ear, you are whisked away to escape from a very shrunken down City 17. Seriously, I finished this section of the game in like 15 minutes, and I would have done it faster if not for the ridiculous amount of tutorials. Every 8 feet, the game stops to explain something to you. You can skip them, but for the sake of due diligence, I watched every single one, and it is baffling. Like, maybe the concept of playing a game in the first person was that foreign of a concept to Japanese arcade players? Or maybe I just have more faith in them, because why is every object brightly labeled and clearly marked? It is way overboard. Like, calm down, it's a stairwell. Do we need this many arrows? I think they'll get it. Now that is not to say this isn't some brainless arcade fun, because it is. There are no puzzles, no need to think at all, just point and shoot. Thankfully, it controls well. The gunplay in Half-Life 2 has always been really satisfying, and that's something Taito definitely nailed here. So the game's fun, though again, the levels are much shorter. That's maybe the biggest change. Well, that and the lack of Half-Life's famous bustling worlds and in-game cinematics, but hey, arcades are not a place to soak up atmosphere, they're a place to blow up atmosphere. Though, even in this version, the boat section is still too long. But your boat's got a gun this time! Blow up everything! It wasn't until I got to Ravenholm, which is one of my favorite areas in the game, that I started to miss stuff from the story. Like Dog and Alex. The game is just like, plop, you're in the spooky zone now, deal with it. And then, just as quickly, it's over. It is so short, super short. And there's no gravity gun. Well, this free man is not afraid to improvise. All right then, chump, eat canister. God damn it, I can never get the spacing right on that. This actually was a really big bummer for me, but this is just a game you cannot stay mad at. Seeing this legendary campaign laid before you in such a state is just a trip. I mean, if this was the exact same campaign but just in an arcade, it wouldn't be so special. Because of its faults, I cannot recommend this game to Half-Life fans enough. And that's not all the masterminds that Taito had in store for us with this game. There is also multiplayer. I think the best way to describe it is like Team Fortress Lite with an anime spin. It's 4v4, there are different classes, each with loadouts. It's not quite the same with just bots. It probably wouldn't surprise you though to learn that this was the most popular mode to play in the arcades, according to Taito developer Takuma Hanagata. I played with bots, but I am sure there are a few heroes out there that are playing this game online right now. I mean, what are you gonna do? Boot up CSGO again? Nah, get busy living. With the success of Half-Life 2 Survivor versus mode, there's really no surprise the next Valve game to get the Taito arcade treatment was Left 4 Dead 2 and Left 4 Dead 2 Survivor. Oh, Survivors. I'm on to you, Taito. I see you, Taito. Got an S there, plural. This one came out in 2014 and either let you play with people locally in the arcades if there were enough machines, or jump online and play with strangers with Taito's Nessica service. This is the same service that runs online for other arcade games like Samurai Showdown or Street Fighter V. Oh, wait a minute, that's another console original that got an arcade port. How could this have happened to Street Fighter? The machine itself was played with something that kind of looks like a Wii nunchuck and a mouse, so I guess we progressed past the need for pedals. But Taito didn't skimp on the new content. We got 4 all-new survivors tailor-made for the Japanese audience. Yusuke, Haruka, Sarah, Blake, and they've all got new voice actors and dialogue. It's really thorough. I had to play as my homegirl Haruka, the short schoolgirl, throughout the campaign, which pulls in levels from Left 4 Dead 1 and 2. Stages are again simplified to be more linear and arrowed to death, but not quite to the same extremes as Half-Life 2. Gameplay is mostly the same, though the aiming is a lot more forgiving than the original game, or at least it was on easy mode, which is the only one unlocked from the start. The biggest difference, honestly, is the lack of gnarly blood and guts everywhere. I guess they were trying to censor this game for arcades, but Taito still left the literal piles of bodies that decorate levels, so I don't know. Apparently, if you let the timer run out, the game will spawn endless tanks to kill you until you are dead. But I actually couldn't get this working for me. There must be a setting in here somewhere that I need to turn on. Oh god, I have a degree in this language, and it's all gone. I can still feel Harada Sensei's disappointment. Also, doesn't Left 4 Dead 2 seem like a really long campaign for an arcade game? Apparently, Taito also sold memory cards that let you save your progress and any items you bought with one of the game's currencies. Due to messing around with the menus and occasional crashes, I wasn't able to play far enough to unlock harder difficulties. Maybe the infinite tanks only show up on medium and hard or something? By the way, getting these games to actually play can sometimes be a problem. But some heroes on Steam Workshop actually ported most of this game's content, so you can try out playing as Haruka yourself pretty easily. She's actually a reskin of Coach, and Just imagine playing with this cute schoolgirl and hearing Coach's dialogue.
I'm gonna be a one-man cheeseburger apocalypse.
I'm telling you, get busy living. Overall, this is not quite a must-play in the same way as Half-Life 2 Survivor, but it was so easy to add the mods in through Steam that I'd recommend trying the game there instead of the full arcade version. If you need some more Left 4 Dead after you played through The Last Stand, look no further than Survivors. I'm smart.
You smart.
You loyal. But Haruka, Yusuke, that's enough waifus to make me wish that there was some kind of Left 4 Dead anime. And while that never happened, at least officially, that's basically the treatment that another Valve phenom got. Counter-Strike. This is Counter-Strike Neo.
それでは次に戦闘訓練を行います。
Released in 2003 and developed by Namco, this came out before the other two, but I had to save the best for last because this game has some of the best localization choices of the whole Valve trio. You might notice that this game has some shredded-looking combatants running around in powder blue lilac spandex onesies. And you know what, if I was that shredded, I'd probably be walking around in spandex onesies too. This is what Namco changed the terrorists into, reasoning that the average Japanese player wouldn't be happy with a game that let terrorists win. Which, fair. So our new faction is named Neo, and the counter-terrorist forces have been renamed SSFF. Also, it's the future now. Yeah, this all checks out. In terms of controls, Namco decided not to reinvent the wheel and left it just as mouse and keyboard. Now you see, I am not the most experienced Counter-Strike player, and I was playing this game against bots whenever I was able to pull them in. Counter-Strike Neo was originally developed for Linux, and the emulator I used struggled to get it working properly on my PC. That's just how these things go sometimes. I'm not sure how much of this game I would have been able to experience anyway, since Counter-Strike Neo was absolutely designed to be a multiplayer experience. A lot of the game seems to be online only. Namco also added single-player missions, minigames, and special events, but the emulation was so buggy that it was difficult to consistently play around with any of it. But what I was able to play felt solid. Buying weapons, planting bombs, except with incredible character skins. Have these not been hacked into proper Counter-Strike yet? Again, I am not a Counter-Strike expert, so I cannot comment on the levels, but there is a decent amount here. It's too bad we had such trouble getting this running because it appeared to have been a really solid package. But don't worry, maybe you're like me and are a little out of your depth trying to get a proper emulator working. You don't come to Uncle Derek for the technical knowledge, you come to Uncle Derek to get dumb. And friends, it is with absolute joy I bring to you Counter-Strike Neo White Memories. Counter-Strike's very own visual novel. What's the number one problem with Counter-Strike? Number one problem. Lack of waifus.
Oh.
Finally, there's an answer for the intellectuals among us who would enjoy a shooter if only there were more waifu. I can't even joke about this since adding waifus of all species and gender is one of the biggest multiplayer shooter trends of the last half decade. Once again, we in the West were way behind the curve on this one. But anyway, White Memories is a Flash-based Counter-Strike visual novel created by Romance Work, and they came correct with some pretty good voice work.
Oh, hiya, my darling.
Some rockin' music, an anime as hell intro. The actual game, or novel itself, is pretty straightforward. It doesn't have any options or any way to interact with the story, except the gameplay segments in every chapter. Look at this. Look at this Flash-based Counter-Strike nonsense. Now friends, I have played a lot of bad PC ports. Doom ports, Wolfenstein 3D ports, ports that had to make huge concessions. But this has got to take the cake. It reduces Counter-Strike to a Game Boy Color game, literally. Here is Tyrannosaurus Tex in actual Game Boy Color FPS, and here is Counter-Strike White Memories. It is utterly amazing. And just to remind you, this is an officially sanctioned Valve project. Of course, to call this a full-on port is a gigantic reach at best, since these shooting segments are just the creamy middles sandwiched between dialogue segments that make up the bulk of White Memories. Still, it's one of the greatest things I have ever seen. Now, in terms of the actual story, you can probably guess that by looking at this dynamite gal, probably programmed to have the most tragic backstory ever, you shouldn't let your guard down around a waifu in white. Either way, I streamed the whole thing. If you really want to see it, I recommend you check it out. Oh, and I'm finally uploading our live streams again. Links in the description below. And that is another punching way in the bag. If you want to learn more about the weird, ambitious, or unnecessary, hit that subscribe button and check out our playlist. Thanks so much to to all of our Patreon supporters. This show would not be possible without their support, and you can join their ranks too. You see your name right here. Watch videos before they come to YouTube, hang out on our Discord community, vote for new videos. Please support us if you can. Hey, 2020, it's been a hell of a year. We understand that not everyone can support us like that, so it's enough to just keep watching, keep sharing. Tell your friends about Stop Skeletons and Fighting. Tell your friends about Punching Weight. Thank you so much for watching. Stay powerful. Wear a mask. Wash your hands. Stay powerful.